This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
If I can get my sound. There we go. Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy, ladies and gentlemen. And we are in game 2 in about 15 minutes. Knicks versus the Boston Celtics. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to talk about with this basketball game. You know, the Knicks have a chance to go up 2-0. And I'm not going to say if they go up 2-0, they put a stranglehold on the series, but they will definitely cripple the Boston Celtics if we go up 2-0. You know what I mean? I think it is obviously it's an important game. You know what I mean? If the Knicks can go up 2-0, you know, we come back to Madison Square Garden up 2-0 with 2 games at the Garden. The Knicks is winning one of those games at the Garden. You better believe that, ladies and gentlemen. But what do the Knicks got to do to win this game? How do the Knicks beat the Celtics in this game? Because you know the Celtics are going to come back. They're coming back with a vengeance. There's no doubt about that. You know what I mean? They're coming out to try to prove a point to the Knicks, to try to prove a point to anyone who is doubting them. Now, one thing that I like, actually, is that there are a lot of people who, instead of doubting the Celtics, are doubting the Knicks. Right? A lot of people doubting the Knicks. A lot of people like, oh, well, you know, the Celtics not going to shoot that bad again. You know what I mean? The Knicks escaped with that one because the Celtics missed 45 threes and all of that stuff. Perfect. That's exactly how we want it to be. Continue to doubt the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Continue to let the Knicks have some fire in their belly, which, you know, they're going to have fire in their belly anyway. All right, but let's just talk about some things that the Knicks need to do. Number 1, withstand the storm that's probably going to come in the beginning of the game. We know what's going to happen. The Celtics are going to come out upset, wanting to prove that last night's game or whatever the other night's game was a fluke, right? So we got to withstand that first storm. I don't want to go down 20. We came back, but we can't. That's not going to be the norm. I don't want to go down 20. We got to withstand that storm. You know what I mean? There's going to be a storm in the beginning of the game. The Celtics going to come out with some fire. So we got to withstand that storm. That's the first thing. We got to find a way to counteract the 3-point shooting. They're going to continue to shoot threes. They are going to probably shoot a better percentage. They shot 25% from the 3-point line in the previous game. I wouldn't expect the Celtics to shoot 25% from the 3-point line in the previous tonight. So I think the Knicks need to counteract the Celtics. Kevin, I got you. I see it. I'm feeling you. You know what I mean? I might just go ahead and change it. You know, I didn't expect those highlights to be playing right now. So go ahead and switch it on up. But the Knicks need to counteract that 3-point shooting, because if they do not counteract the 3-point shooting, now we may allow the Celtics to get hot, get comfortable behind that line, and we have nothing to counteract it. We have nothing there. So, you know, if they start shooting, you know, we got to rebound better. That's what I mean by counteract it. Okay, they're hitting it. We can't lose the rebound battle by 10. We got to rebound better. We got to make sure we're getting every single loose ball. We got to make our free throws, right? Those things to counteract the 3-point shooting. If they, I mean, we want to do those things anyway, but if they start hitting them, we really got to make sure that we're counteracting the 3-point shooting, with something and winning one of these battles. Another way to counteract that 3-point shooting, if they start hitting shots, is to continue to go inside to Karl Anthony Towns. Cat was dominating inside early in the game until he got into foul trouble. I think if we can continue to go inside the Cat, we can exploit a weakness of theirs, which is their size. Right? So we've got to exploit that weakness. I think we've got to continue to go inside, let Cat do his work, because it's been hard for us to touch the paint. It was hard for us to touch the paint in the last game. You know what I mean? We shot. It was hard to get inside because of their length. So Jalen Brunson is our best guy to touch the paint. And if Jalen Brunson is struggling to get inside because that style of defense that they're playing, we got to find another way to get inside, and that's got to be Karl Anthony Towns in the post, in my opinion. I'm sorry, Uncle Fulio. I know how you feel about it, but the previous game, I think, proved you wrong because Cat was dominating inside. As a matter of fact, he only took 13 shots, I think, and only 3 of those shots came outside of the paint. Everything else came inside the paint. So I think we've got to continue to exploit that on the inside. All right. The loose ball battle, we got to win it. Guys like Drew Holiday, guys like Derek White have been really, really good hawking the ball, hawking those loose balls. We got to make sure that we are getting to the loose balls. It can't just be Josh Hart. We got to be a little bit quicker to get into the loose ball. You know what I'm saying? A little bit quicker getting to the loose ball, in my opinion. All right. Also, the matchup with Karl Anthony Towns on Brown, I'm not feeling that matchup. I don't like the matchup. You know what I'm saying? And, to me, Karl Anthony Towns, he's got big, slow feet. He can't move with a guy like Jaylen Brown. I understand why the matchup is there. Because of, we don't have that type of switchability defensively. But Karl Anthony Towns cannot move with Jaylen Brown. And if he's guarding Jaylen Brown, if he's guarding Brown, he's going to be in foul trouble. He's going to be in foul trouble. You know what I mean? So I think it's, I think it's a bad move. I'm not sure which matchup to go with. You know what I mean? That's the issue. Which matchup do you go with for Karl Anthony Towns? Obviously Tibbs isn't using any type of zone strategies, right? So there's no hiding Karl Anthony Towns. It's hard to see what he goes with. But you got to do something other than Karl Anthony Towns on Brown, I think, in my opinion. You got to do something other than that. All right. Kevin, you said the Celtics will play zone tonight. The Knicks have, the crazy thing is that the Knicks have the personnel. If they play zone, the Knicks have the personnel to score within their zone, right? Because you have a guy like Karl Anthony Towns who can knock down the mid-range. He can knock down the three. He can also pass from that mid-post, from the elbow. You know what I'm saying? So you get Karl Anthony Towns in on that elbow, we should be able to destroy a zone that they have. Karl Anthony Towns can play down low as well. We should be able to destroy a zone. OG Anunoby, Cal Bridges, these guys can shoot it from three. Of course, Brunson can shoot it from three. Deuce can shoot it from three. We should be able to destroy a zone if they play some zone. You know what I'm saying? We should be able to take that out. We'll see. Kevin said that's the only adjustment you expect from the Celtics tonight. Yeah, I could agree. They're probably going to play the same style that they play, because in their minds they missed 45 threes. You know what I'm saying? And if they missed 45 threes, they're not going to miss 45 threes again. All right. So I think they'll continue to gamble with that. Ralph Unreal, you said limit turnovers, get second chance points. I agree 100%. It goes back to that rebounding. Limit turnovers, which we did because they'll capitalize on them. Limit the turnovers, but get those second chance points. That's one way that you counteract that 3-point shooting. Get the second chance points. You know what I'm saying? Offensive rebounding. Mitchell Robinson, gobbled up boards. You know what I mean? We need him to gobble up boards. Let's say that on the offensive side. We need him to gobble up those offensive rebounds. The problem, what do we do about the Celtics doing the hack of Mitch, slowing the game down? That's what Precious has to play. You got to go to Precious earlier. All right, test it out. See if they're going to go to the hack of Mitch. If they go to the hack of Mitch, immediate substitution and get Precious in the game. You know what I mean? And it hurts because you're taking out a guy, you're taking out Mitch, who is long, a long defender, shot blocker. Precious is a shot blocker. Precious can rebound. Precious has got to be ready, though. You know what I'm saying? No slacking. Precious has got to be ready to ball. Because if he's not ready, then we definitely lose something. I think we need to get more, especially early in the game, get Jalen Brunson moving more off the ball. We've seen it in the Pistons series. I think we need to see it more tonight, get him moving off the ball so it doesn't have to be him dribbling to try to create, because it's so hard for him to penetrate their zone. Not their zone, but penetrate their defense, because they're sagging off so deeply against Jalen Brunson, right? They find a way to get Jalen Brunson onto the right side of the floor, so he has to go left, but then they have somebody sagging left. So if he's on the right side of the floor, that means if he's going right, he's going to the baseline, and that's not his strong hand. So now that adds an extra defender. That's a problem. If he's going left, which is to his strong hand, you got a defender sagging away in the paint, right? That kind of, that's something that can neutralize Brunson. You know what I mean? So if we get Brunson moving off the ball like we did versus Detroit, when Detroit was really, really defending them tough, we may be able to get some more, some easier looks for Brunson without him having to dribble so much. We can save the dribbling and all of that stuff to the end. Save it to the end. When we really need him to go one-on-one. If we can stay there, take a lead, whatever, we can get Brunson more rest so he can be ready in the end. I think our bench has got to step up. Deuce stepped up last game. Well, we're going to need more people to step up. You know what I mean? More people. Deuce got to step up. If Cam can step up and give us something great, you know what I'm saying? But we need that bench to step up. We got to get the bench to step up. Hopefully now. And the thing is, I feel good about Deuce, though. And the reason why I said it in the last series against Detroit, people were asking, will Deuce step up? And I thought that Deuce would have better shooting percentages versus Boston, because they don't close out as hard as Detroit does. Deuce has a hitch at the top of his shot, right? So when teams close out hard, now you got to rush that shot because of the hitch. Boston doesn't close out as hard, so he don't have to rush that shot because of the hitch. You know what I'm saying? Now he can just shoot in his regular form, his regular motion. You know what I mean? So I think he's going to shoot better percentages in this series because they don't close out as hard. So I expect Deuce to continue to shoot well. We need somebody else off that bench to help us score. You know what I mean? I don't know what I predict tonight. It's a tough one. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough one. I think the Celtics might win because they're probably feeling some pressure and feeling desperate. They're going to come out You know, they know they can't go back to Madison Square Garden down 0-2. They can't go back to Madison Square Garden down 2. You know what I mean? So, you know, they'll probably get the win tonight. I think it's going to be a close game. They're going to try to blow us out. They're going to try, without a doubt. You know what I mean? To send a message. I still think it's going to be a close game. I think the Knicks have figured out how to play that aggressive style against the Boston Celtics. You know what I mean? They probably lose a tight one. I'll say that. But if we can get it, man, if we can get it, you know, it's beauty. It's beauty. You know, it's beauty. Kevin said he believes Knicks by 5. Kings said, I think the Celtics win too, but I hope the Knicks win and it will be close. Yeah, it's going to be close, man. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. You know, Sean, you said, Sim said the Knicks don't have as much talent as the Celtics. That ain't true. Take a close look at both rosters. I have, and I still think they have more talent. Sorry. I just do. I just do. I think they have more talent. Ian Coleman said, damn, Sim, we spent years trying to get here. You was coaching your daughter's AAU team when I first started watching. We need this game tonight. Yes. And now she's no longer playing AAU. She's out of high school, played in college. You know what I'm saying? Living on her own, doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? That's a long time. And we spent a long time trying to get here. So no doubt about it. We need this tonight. You know what I'm saying? Last win was a milestone. Right? Last win was a milestone for the Knicks, in my opinion. And it deserved to be celebrated. We got to continue to make milestones. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want us to look at the Indiana Pacers and Cleveland Cavaliers series and say, well, they won, we got to win, because I think it's just a different story, because the Cleveland Cavaliers have, you know, so many injuries, you know, and they got, you know, a lot of main guys out. So that's going to be different. It's not going to be the same, because the Celtics got some guys out. It's not say that, you know, Sam Hauser's out. You know what I mean? You know, KP wasn't feeling well and all of that stuff. And he's a big spark off their bench. Sam Hauser is. He's a big spark off their bench. You know, but, you know, I don't think we can just, you know, let's not just compare it to the Indiana Pacers and I mean, DeAndre Hunter, Mobley, and Darius Garland was out. 2 starters and a guy that can start coming off the bench. Yeah, Indiana should won that game. You know what I mean? And they were down 20. They had to come back to do it. You know, so we can't compare that. We just got to focus on our series and what we're doing. You know, who cares about the Indiana and Cleveland series? Just got to focus on ours. You know what I mean? So let's go get this win, y'all. Let's go get this win. I'm about to head off. I'll definitely be on the post-game show. Sorry I was late tonight, but, you know, I'm at this conference and there's things going on that I had to attend. You know what I mean? I'm chilling by the beach, as you can tell. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm out. I'll catch you in the post-game show, ladies and gentlemen. And, yeah, go Knicks. Let's get this win so we can do a Losers Lounge tonight, too. You know what I'm saying? Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.